Without a doubt, the entire ARK franchise seems to be in a constant state of flux. Conflicting reports, future projects in doubt, even release schedules being swapped last minute. If there is one certainty with this dinosaur survival sandbox experience, it's that nothing is certain, and that trend has continued straight into 2024. My name is LtBuzzLitebeer, and welcome to the channel. And on the slate for today is a little bit of uncertainty, a sprinkling of chaos and confusion, and some interesting stats that are still a bit shocking, at least to me. Thanks again for your awesome levels of support you continually show my ARK uploads. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my latest upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are of course greatly appreciated. Chapters are in place and available for a smooth and easy viewing experience. And before we dive into the latest from ARK, a quick word from today's sponsor. Did you know that your internet service provider like AT&T or Verizon knows every single website you visit? And what's worse is they can sell that information to ad companies and tech megacorps who will then use that data to target you. Well, ExpressVPN puts a stop to all of that. It uses an encrypted server, creating a private link between your device and the internet so that your online activity can't be seen by anyone. Passwords, logins, sensitive information, it's all instantly protected and out of prying eyes. I use it so I can travel while staying protected because while on public Wi-Fi, at hotels, airports, even the subway, anyone on that same Wi-Fi can steal my information. I've accessed bank accounts and credit cards, answered security questions, and even made large purchases, and since that information is extremely sensitive, I protect myself with ExpressVPN whenever I'm on public Wi-Fi. ExpressVPN is the world's #1 rated VPN by TechRadar, The Verge, and countless others. It's also my favorite travel app, and I don't go anywhere without it. So, if you're like me and believe that your online activity is strictly your business, secure yourself by visiting expressvpn.com/LtBuzz today. Use my link and you can get an extra 3 months for free. That's expressvpn.com/LtBuzz. Link in the video description, and thanks again to ExpressVPN. So the bit of shocking news has to do with this continual comparison between the OG, Survival Evolved, and the newcomer, Survival Ascended. And I've spoken on this in the past. I played ASE when it first came out, and I gave up shortly thereafter due to the horrific technical state of that game, never to return. But when Survival Ascended launched in late October 2023, I wanted to have first-hand experience with the game, so I purchased it on Steam, and I've worked it into my regular rotation of weekly games. Which brings me to an article from Screen Rant outlining the 10 biggest differences between Survival Ascended and Survival Evolved. And their list is not what this broader discussion is about, but they list out things like better graphics, in-game mod support, which I know is a big one for many ARK players, a more customizable camera, streamlined inventory controls, improved map, which I've noted in the past, building and construction changes, cross-platform play and official servers, more on this in a little bit, crafting changes, quickly switching between ammo types and their number 10 item, changes to irrigation and generators. And looking over their breakdown, I'd have to say that I don't agree with their entire list here. I mean, it feels like a bit of a stretch on some of these items, and I'd love to see some feedback down in the comments section about what you see are the biggest improvements between Survival Evolved and Survival Ascended. But before I completely descend into a wild tangent, the impetus behind this story, the factor that I still find shocking, is the absolute staying power of Survival Evolved, or the relative mediocrity of Survival Ascended. Pick your poison here. Of course, excluding exact console player counts, SteamDB shows even now in January 2024, so that's over 2 months since ASA hit the market, a near 1-to-1 player count between the old and new. In fact, the 24-hour peak is in favor of ARK Survival Evolved over Ascended, and this was Snail and Wilcard's new toy, right? Boasting over 600,000 copies sold in the first 2 weeks of launch. It was suspected and then confirmed by the studio that Survival Ascended was a necessary evil to fund the future development of ARK 2, but with these very close player counts, one has to wonder, did their plan backfire? Obvious performance issues are still coded into the game, many of which I've experienced in my playtime. You've got things like rough performance, huge PC hardware requirements, server stability issues, save game issues, cross-platform shenanigans and exploits. I mean, the list goes on and on. Now, I've communicated with many hardened Survival Evolved survivors, and while they do mention some of the obvious upgrades from ASE to ASA, the majority of comments also state that all the old issues still persist within the codebase. The same glitches and exploits that plagued Survival Evolved are still all here, but now in Unreal Engine 5, with some better mechanics baked in to Survival Ascended. Perhaps this is one of the many factors that have swayed the decisions of ARK veterans to not make that jump from old to new. Even the Microsoft Store shows both ASA and ASE positioned fairly close to one another and both within the top 50 most played games list. If you're still tied to ARK Survival Evolved and you haven't yet made that switch, let me know why in the comment section below. Now on to the little bit of chaos, and this all pertains to current issues and upcoming changes with the game. You see, the Winter Wonderland event has some growing pains as the team at Wilcard attempts to deactivate the event without causing players to lose all their hard-earned cosmetic items. Temporary solutions are being deployed, and this all seems to be due to the way the event was launched, which is in direct contrast to the previous Turkey trials. Official Nitrado servers will be getting a checkbox sometime soon to add the launch parameter, while unofficial servers have completely different workarounds, and single-player servers will need to keep the event active until the end of the month. So, this is not the smoothest ending to the event, and players are already sounding off in the official Discord about items and dinos that are being lost. A player priority, server transfers, were mentioned many times prior to the new year, and the latest is that there is no latest. Players were hoping that they would make an appearance this week, although with just one map currently in the game, it would be a mechanic not fully realized. But the latest word is that Wilcard is still shooting for a January implementation, but no dates will be given. Currently, they are testing the transfer system, with updates given once it is working properly. So this could take a while. And of course, we need to quickly mention one of the largest points of chaos over the past few months for Survival Ascended, the Windows version of the game, and how it was released without any anti-cheat, and hackers were allowed to run rampant throughout the game until that version was segregated from the rest of the player base. Now on this front, again, there's no news. There doesn't seem to be a quick solution, and no word or updates on when Windows will be added back into the fold for Survival Ascended. To finish off today, we're going to move over to the uncertainty. And we've spoken about the ARK animated series and ARK 2 in the past. Interesting to note that Snail Games, ARK's publisher, does not show the animated series anywhere on their fiscal year 2024 roadmap, but ARK 2 does show up as quarter 4, which is still highly doubtful considering the history of Snail and Wilcard and other possible outside factors involving executive level staff for both ventures, leaving the entire future of the franchise mostly riding on the success or failure of Survival Ascended, which will be very interesting to see once Snail Games releases their quarter 4 financial report, I'm guessing sometime in February. But the mystery in this story is the question of what's going on over at Snail Games, which we are again mostly blind to until they release that investor statement. Now yesterday, Snail Games stock plummeted to below $1 a share, and at one point it dropped down to 94 cents before pushing back to just over $1. This is significant for several reasons, first of which is that their stock was sitting at just over $2.30 a share back in July of last year. So let's call it 5 to 6 months ago, which is a massive swing. And second off, at 94 cents, that's the record 52-week low for their stock, and it was set yesterday. Now, something's not adding up between all of these robust claims coming out of Snail Games about ARK Mobile, DLC on the horizon, ARK 2, 600,000 plus copies sold of Survival Ascended, and what is showing up in their ledger book, i.e. the zeros and ones, and that translates into confidence investors are showing in the potential for Snail Games. all eyes will be on that financial report. And again, I expect it to show up next month, February, and how much Snail has been able to claw back, especially after they ended 2023 significantly in debt. As always, leave me whatever feedback you'd like concerning ARK, and I'll do my best to respond. Remember to hit subscribe and ring the notifications bell to receive my future ARK upload alerts. Likes, comments, shares are, of course, greatly appreciated. All my socials can be found in the video description. A huge thanks to the over 188,000 of you that have taken the plunge and hit subscribe. And until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.